Gléidheadh.
Oh, Gléidheadh.
Agus Chain Tenhorst.
Smisha Trueman Matheson.
Agus Colaisde.
Kilreeve and Shudderbuck in Antigonish.
Agus Catchin Jeff the Hocal.
I'm a Hocal and Doidra Hullum Hila and Shudderbuck Colchester. Vashkir Truro.
Agus Melissa got J. Swanya Gahacket.
Oh, well. Smisha Truman Macruman, I Charlton, I Ernish, I Hamish, I Ernish. Hanukkah Alba.
Agus Tildahat.
Well, Vaher. She Muzzerall Hincha. As Bay St. Anne, New Brunswick.
Okay, so and this Severa, there's our Karen Yachel Gaelic Aka. How are you?
I'm not too bad.
What is your name?
I'm Trueman Matheson.
And where are you from?
I'm from St. Andrews in Antigonish County.
And where were you brought up, Trueman?
I was raised in Londonderry, which is near Truro.
And that's in what county?
Colchester County,
Colchester
yes.
County. And can you tell us some of your genealogy on your father's side and your mother's side?
Well, as far as I remember, as far as we know at least, as far back on my father's side is my father's name was Trueman Angus, son of Carlton Cecil Mackenzie, son of Angus Edwards, son of Thomas, son of Angus, and that the last Angus, the only thing we know about him was that he was born in Scotland.
Okay. So you don't know what part of Scotland he came from?
I believe Sutherland. Our Mathesons are connected with the chiefship of Shiness in Sutherland.
Okay, great. Can I hold you hours at the Gaelic?
Well, when we go in the Gaelic, when we perished in Crown Vahan, Nervami Ark, Sadolk and Allhigh, I guess, Swing Macamera the Council of the Gaelic, Sadowns, and the Fiachan, the Peep, for the Yen of Cudgel. I guess, and Soundrug, Jaime Hollish Gaelic. I guess, Yansik me, Yansik me, back in Gaelic on Katrina Parsons, the Canamshin, that's in 1991.
I guess, and Rogaelic ag the parent then.
Rogaelic ag my parent Nietzsche, Frankish ag my vaher. Had die Jansik me Frankish naar van mij is Makem Frankish Jansik naar van mij aan zijn alhai. So.
Okay, I guess the next jump severe. How were you introduced to Gaelic?
Well, I learned a bit of Gaelic by studying my heritage through the Clan Matheson Society, which I was a part of when I was going to university, and I had a chance to study some at the Gaelic College for a couple of weeks. So I went there and I took a course with Katrina Parsons, and
what year was that?
That was 1991. I remember I developed bronchitis, a bad case of bronchitis, maybe even pneumonia at the time too. So by the end of it, I didn't have much energy. I was sick for about 6 weeks actually after that, but I managed to get enough of the pronunciation and grammar to continue with it in night classes, which I heard about from there when I came back to Halifax.
Okay, so there were night classes in Halifax.
Yes, through Sam McLean.
Oh yes.
From River Denny.
Yes, he's a cousin of mine.
Yes.
Oh, that was good. And did your parents have Gaelic? Was the other question.
No. My parents had no Gaelic. My mother, she was from a French community in New Brunswick called Bay Saint Anne. And she was a Musserole, but she was raised by a family of Durrells, which actually was the family of Yvonne Durrell, the fighting fisherman, as they called them. It's a Canadian Commonwealth. I think it was light heavyweight champion.
Yes, I've heard of him. Yes.
Yeah.
So, was there any Gaelic taught or spoken in the school when you were growing up?
No, there was no Gaelic in any schools in the province as far as
that time.
Well, actually, it might have been in Mabo, I suppose, at that time, but not anywhere else.
That was in the 70s?
That would be, 70s, 80s, yeah.
Agus a bheith Gaelic an teabhacha agat.
Gaelic ik Naven, Lorinda. Yes, the Becken Gaelic ik na Quown, Hashik seen the Gaelic of Anne, Nervan na Quown Hawk. He had can in the Kerstina and Chas Hina Aken. I guess I had to see Ailey. Via Breense Gaelic, via Breense Severwa Van, of Huns, Gundurishin van a Puer, via a Quich Severwa, Fatten Hernium, a vac via Tuction, via Vishin a fine a Keston and Gas Gaelic is via a Freckers, in Reckers Severwa. See, Jensen has.
So, ha cead níon in?
A care níon in Aken. It's you I China Becken Gaelic here. Running you bring Beckens Gaelic.
Come on, sauce.
Becken, he also like an Inish Italian.
Oh, shit, right? Yeah.
Assuming here sin.
So, in English, do your family members speak Gaelic?
My wife and I speak Gaelic, not too much lately. The oldest was brought up in Gaelic and spoke it until she was at least 4 years old. The second one learned English from her sister through play, since that was the language of play, and never really spoke it to us, although she understood it and would answer in English, and still does to this day. But she has a fair bit of Gaelic. The third one, the third child, has a fair bit of Gaelic. She just needs a little push, I think, to really get her to fluency. She's more interested right now in Italian, though. So
yes. Agus an iste mi in an open racket. Come na Hashiku and opened in course a Gaelic.
Well, Hashik me moved 1998. That's my question. A gen of Lorich and Gaelic is a school of Lorich and Gaelic, an Amshin or Hune Sheklin Geog, which Mershen, some has to Genreich, Ganel Jirak and Nabuyan.
Agus Vesha Bagopid Corey Corin and the Gaelic. Adolshiv and Shin hast.
Oh, well, hanami you go per calling it a Gaelic hast for me. Oh, no Jake Bleenichin go per so for me. Karski ish and me or car burnt out.
Right, you go yourself. So
Mayor washed.
So in Amsterdam, what inspired you to get involved with Gaelic, and what year was that? And were you in university at the time? Is there one individual or group that stands out as having an influence on you?
Well, as I said, I started learning in '91 at the Gaelic College, and I was surprised how vibrant the culture was even at that time. I had a chance to go to a milling frolic on the North Shore, and there was community members of all ages present singing the old songs, and it was very striking to me how it seemed much more vibrant than anything in English society that I'd grown up with. And it was a time when Gaelic was practically extinct. At least that was the impression by most people. That it's far from it even today. But at that time, it was very much in decline still, and there was only a few speakers really left. But that community I remember being still very strong with the language and culture, and really had an impact on me there.
So you were impressed by a lot of different singers and instructors, yes. Perhaps someone that.
Katrina Parsons was certainly was encouraging. Yes, yeah. Certainly the word. I remember being, all of us kind of dragging ourselves out of bed and into the classroom. She's just full of zip into every morning. Sam McLean, though, was probably the biggest influence. He taught us a lot of the songs, and as well as both of them. Back then, it seems to be less so today, but back then, learning the language and the songs went hand in hand. Yes. It's very much you couldn't really do one without the other, and I feel that perhaps we've lost a bit of that today. But I'm hoping that people who get to learn that language will get into learning the songs as well and the stories.
Yes, I find you get the real flavor of the language in a song.
You do, yes, you do. Yeah. And it's the culture behind the language, which is probably just as important as learning the language itself, I think.
Has happened to roll Gléidheadh the Nishu the Chin. I understand you owned a bookstore providing Gaelic books. Can you tell us about that?
Well, we had a bookstore, but it was really just operating out of our house. We did a mail order business for years, and sold wholesale. Did a wholesale business to many shops and libraries and universities across the province and across North America and abroad even. Yes, our first book we did was Antigonish, which is a very large collection of, I think, over 300 songs, Gaelic songs. We did a CD with it of local singers, including Katrina Parsons and several local singers from Cape Breton. There was about 20 tracks on that. And over the years, we did a number of others that the Gaelic proverbs and proverbial sayings. And we included a collection of proverbs from that Charles Dunn had collected in Nova Scotia as well. Then there was also Gaelic idioms and expressions, and there's additional.
Zoom in on that.
There's additional idioms that we, again from Nova Scotia, that we included with that one. And there were several others that we did, which were original, which other people had that we did or other people had a hand in. Angus MacLeod from Englishtown. He's also very much an artist, and took a couple traditional tales and did basically a graphic novel of those there. Then there was Kim Mills, who did a collection of songs from U.F. Mackenzie from Christmas Island.
And her father is Rod C.
Her father-in-law is Rod C. Rod C. We did a CD of him and a few other people, mainly Rod C. Singing a lot of the songs. But there's about 20 in all that were in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And on,
He's from
on the CD.
Iona.
He's from Iona, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Still living there, as far as I know.
Wonderful to have him.
And we did the second Gaelic novel that was ever published in Tullamore.
We just that up a little bit there,
Sure, we just did
that's great.
a re-edit and reprint of that.
Great illustration on that cover there.
Yeah, we did Gaelic folk tales and folklore, or fair lore. And we did a number of other books, the tales mainly, and
they're both in both languages.
These are bilingual. We did a few that weren't bilingual. We did a little grammar too. That was we did a fair overhaul of the information that was in it. Fair bit of editing on that particular one. In all, we did. We published probably 20 titles, and did another 2 that were simply given out as PDF files, collections that of poetry from MacLean Sinclair, Alexander MacLean Sinclair. And we did T-shirts and Christmas cards, and calendars, and a few other things that, through the years.
Very useful service. I understand the bookstore was the only one of its kind in North America. Is that?
Well, we weren't the only one publishing in Gaelic, but we certainly did the most, and it was our primary business. And we represented a lot of different companies over the years, Garam Publications and Canon. We distributed a lot of CDs as well. We also did. We also distributed for Acher as well for a time, and we published also a few CD companies like Green Tracks and MacMemina from the Other Sky.
Well, that's quite an achievement in my mind, to work on all these different projects and books, and it's wonderful to have this work. So can you tell me what the status of the business is today? It was called Siol
Cultural Enterprises.
Siol Cultural Enterprises.
And that's still the company I run, although it's our focus has changed now to we do a gaming store, own a gaming store now, retail store.
In Antigonish.
In Antigonish Town, yeah.
On Jane Street.
On Jane Street Plaza, yeah. Yeah, we did the Gaelic business as long as we could. Several factors came into us closing it down. We just found that fewer people were reading books. The CD market pretty much collapsed, so we got and the video market's also gone downhill too. So we lost a lot of our a lot of companies. Like Guthan went out of business. Canon stopped publishing. So we lost all the CD market because that kind of went by the people who were doing other things at that time. So it didn't.
Some people are doing e-books today.
E-books, yeah. So there really wasn't. We didn't see a lot of future for it. I was never a great marketer either. I was more into getting the items out and relying on word of mouth, and we just didn't have enough people really who were, I guess, serious learners at the time. And I said most of the ones coming up were learning through TIP or Gaelic Choir, and weren't learning to read, weren't using course books, weren't using dictionaries. So it.
But for the period of time you were in business, I'm sure you made a valuable contribution to.
Well, I hope we did something. Just people enjoyed. Some people got benefit out of it. I'm hoping so.
I understand you co-authored a book about a bard from Antigonish County here, Alexander MacDonald.
Yes.
And you and your wife, Lorinda.
Yes, my wife and I, we published this back, I forget what the year was now, the 2008. That's when we it took about 6 years, a little higher, yeah.
I think I'll zoom in on it there.
Okay.
And it's called?
O Hepit and Crev, which is a play on words
from the Keppoch.
From the Keppoch of the trees.
Of the trees.
And it's actually about refers to a song that Hamo Lepi Saruch. About I believe it has to do with the Battle of Colaisde.
Okay.
And, the Keppoch bard fell, the Keppoch chief fell, I should say.
During that
battle, yeah. As I was saying about the Keppoch bard, he was a relative of my wife, and we had at the time about 14 songs that we had found through St. X University. Then we found several more through the casket and some of the old issues of the casket. And then Ken Nielsen found a lost manuscript that had been sent over to Scotland.
And Ken Nielsen was a professor at St. X.
He was the late chair of Gaelic Studies at St. X. Great man. Communities really missed him over the years, I'm sure. Anyways, he discovered a number of other songs, and we ended up with, I think, about 28 songs by or concerning the Keppoch bard at the time. Now I should mention the Keppoch bard. He was born in Scotland, in Gléidheadh in Moidart. He came over with his family when he was about 9 years old. I think it was 1830, I believe it was. He came over. It's been a while since I've done any research on him or talked about him, but his father was Alan Moore, and he was renowned for strength. It said that only Bishop Fraser was able to beat him in the stone throw at the games, and he was also known to have carried a quernstone on his back from Antigonish to the Keppoch, some 10 or 15 miles through the forest and uphill too. So he was quite a very strong, very powerful man. Keppoch Bard, he wrote most of his songs while on the Keppoch. We had one that he did when he had moved to with his sons to after his wife passed away. He moved to Crocanurin, Spring Hill, and he wrote about the fire. One of the fires. It was 1892. That occurred. He passed away there in 1904, I believe it was. I think he was 82 at the time. There's a funny story that was actually in the family that he was being administered by a doctor who happened to be Protestant, and his doctor came to his daughter-in-law and told him that his condition was terminal and that he should really be told. And she asked him if he could do it because she didn't really feel she was able to. So the doctor went and asked him, told him that he would listen, Sandy. I'm afraid that you're soon going to be in the Father's house. And Bards replied to him, "Wouldn't you like to be in my shoes?" So he had quite a wit, anyways, about him. And like I said, it's a story. It's this one story about him that's passed down to the family to the present time.
You're still a member of the Gaelic Council.
Yes.
And you're an active member in the Gaelic Choir with Katrina Parsons.
Well, not so much the last year and a half or so because of I've been so busy at the store. But
yes.
I wasn't. I was invited a couple times to come and sing with them, and I've enjoyed it. I just haven't had time really that I could commit to anything, and I don't like to take things on if I can't really be reliable, I guess is the word.
So you've sung in milling frolics as well.
I have, yes.
In the past. So you went to, what places did you go to for milling frolics?
Oh, up to Christmas Island, Mabu. I had quite a few here in Antigonish and even in Halifax. Actually, I was just a few years back to one in Halifax, singing there. It's up to the Gaelic College a few times.
Johnstown?
I've never been to Johnstown.
No,
It's a little too far out for me. I'd never been out that way.
They have an annual one.
Yeah. But
And here, how about here at the Highland Games? Have you participated in any singing at the Highland Games?
There might have been one milling frolic I did a little bit there, but the biggest thing I'd done over the last few years prior to closing the business was prior to the kids getting into their teenage years. I developed a choir with them and sing. They used to sing at a number of places around the county here, and at Canada. One even sang at Canada Day celebrations here. And there was we had a little choir too of the grade 5s and 6s at the St. Andrew's School, and there's just 3 of them. I taught them a few songs, and they actually sang at Celtic Colors during one concert there in Glendale.
Great. I understand, Trueman, that you've uploaded some Gaelic songs on the YouTube channel, and the name of the channel is Gléidheadh, which means Gléidheadh in Gaelic, and
Trueman, yes.
means Trueman.
Trueman, yeah.
Yeah, Trueman. And
Although I forgot to put the aspiration in on the air, but
okay.
so it's FIOR FEAR.
Right. So people can go there and find these songs on YouTube.
Yes.
And you have quite a collection on there. Not necessarily whole songs, but portions of songs.
Yeah, when I was doing our publication in Fort Tornica, I wanted to collect as many of the airs as possible. Not necessarily all the complete songs, although we did get several some of the singers to do several verses. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to go through the whole gamut and find out what songs people actually knew the air to. And oftentimes there was more than one air, and they would contribute to whatever they knew. Rod C. contributed quite a few. Rod C. McNeil contributed quite a few. He's got a very low voice, and so not many of them actually made it to the recording itself, and he only did bits and pieces anyways. But I thought good to have this available for posterity, basically. So I uploaded a lot of them to from him and Maxie McNeil, sorry, mm-hmm. and some others up on my YouTube channel. I also put a few recordings from Lewis McKinnon from our Gaelic phrase book, and the collection of idioms. We had Angus MacLeod going through all the from A to what's the last letter in the Gaelic alphabet? U, I think. Mm-hmm. So he did all the proverbs in each section. So A, B, C, D, mm-hmm. and right on through. So we've uploaded all those to that channel.
This could you add on a shed
Oh, well,
what is your favourite Gaelic song?
Pile Hound, Courtagroom, Gomor, Jansich Me and Oran Shaw, van John Morrison, and Quarrick, Ryan Rod C. McNeil. Sin Pasik Pure in Van, Sean Oran van Sean Dewey, the Hound. It's
I guess I'm so there with Cora and who wrote the song?
It's an unknown author.
Okay.
And I did some research and I found several verses. There's one verse in this that the singer had that isn't written in the text, as far as I know. It's about a wedding where they're very stingy. Presumably the bard, of course, didn't earn an invitation to this said wedding because he was very critical of it. Oh. It's Pasik Pure in Van, the wedding of the sister of Ian Ban.
Mm-hmm. So where can one find the lyrics of this song?
I'm not sure where. It might be on the internet, but that's where I located the lyrics.
Okay.
But the only recording I've seen of it is this one that Rod C. had produced. Topper and Duchas might have one as well. I don't know.
And yeah, we're on a tune. So Shaw, Jane Pennahan and it.
Pasik Pure in Van. Hiuravo, nis kurmi wunyak in Nortugri. Hiuravo, ek pasik pure in Van. Ner heishin na makri na vullichen, va kjova snakka va guaken, the Sheena Hogari na Fullican, Ek Pasik Burin Van, Hioravo, Nis Kurumi Wunyakan Norta Grave, Hioravo, Ek Pasik Burin Van. Nuranik Shinurt for Noichaken, At I Fatagun Sawas Gun Selshaken, Anayamich Food na Coinlerin, Ek Pasik Burin Van, Hioravo, Nis Kurmi Wunyaken Norta Grave, Hioravo, Ek Pasik Burin Van. Vaskian and a crack around, Sforkichen Harrowen you wound, Vachim Gurama Gushichach, Ek Pasik Burin Van, Hioravo, Nis Kurmi Wunyaken Norta Grave, Hioravo, Ek Pasik Burin Van. Buntata wam a suchakin, Hadanik da wang javatakin, Gundushin shit gusuipernya, Ek Pasik Burin Van, Hioravo, Nis Kurumi Wunyakin Norta Grave, Hioravo, Ek Pasik Burin Van. Avarishin, Vagrimekin, Vakasha Watcha Reinekin, Vanirv Nakvekta Grakinekin, Ek Pasik Burin Van, Hioravo, Nis Kurumi Wunyakin Norta Grave, Hioravo, Ek Pasik Burin Van. Shinakata.
Hello, hey, Trueman, machine. Fear na, Fapala. I should go to the bring me in Amsterdam.
See?
What, were you ever in Scotland? In Riv and Europa?
Sure. Mahinus Mavenaun, and Blina Jig, Coach Lina Jignish Shahai. We traveled over together back in 2005 for about 17 days.
Okay.
We traveled around the west of Scotland. Stayed away from the cities for the most part. We flew into Inverness, visited around Colaisde, then we went down to Loch Helsh, the Matheson homeland, and traveled around there and over to Skye, visited the Gaelic College there, and we were up to Portree to visit Arthur Cormac, and along the way we were going to some of our suppliers as well and picking up goods and that. And by the time we, I think by the time we hit the Gaelic College, we were Salmore. We had quite a bit of stuff with us, but even by then, and so we couried it to our hotel room in Glasgow for on our return. And we went to the mainland and we visited Glenfinnan and Fort William and Oban and Mull, where Lorinda's Plain people came from. We were hoping to get up to Glendoick and Cashel Chibham in Moydark, but there wasn't much in the way of transportation around the area. We were on foot at the time, so we kind of had to skirt around that area, unfortunately. We went back to Glasgow and home from there.
That was a great trip.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. Probably the highlight of the trip was the Arisag, Arisag area. Actually, we had a hike there from a couple. We did a hike up around the area where the McGilvery's from Antigonish originally came out of Glenmama. and a couple took us on a tour of the area. It was before our hike around around the area. We visited a chapel where the bard Alistair MacAllister is buried, or supposedly buried, I guess. Another indirect relative of Lourdes as well.
Wow, that was good. So did you hear much Gaelic on your trip?
The most Gaelic we had was probably in Inverness, actually.
Uh-huh.
We probably spoke more Gaelic in Inverness than we spoke English.
Mm-hmm.
We met up with the people at Clee and BBC Alba, and we were taken out to supper there and by a group of them as well, and just had a great time up there.
That was good. I understand when you and Lorinda got married, you had a very Celtic flavoured wedding. I understand you wore the kilt. And
I did.
Can you tell us a little about that?
Well, myself and the groomsmen all wore kilts.
Uh-huh.
The best man, and the matron of honor and the maids of honor were all had a McGilvery sash around. They were all around as sisters, three of them. And we had the pipes playing on the outside, and we had bilingual Gaelic service, wedding service, actually. We did our vows in Gaelic.
Nice.
Father MacDonald was, Father Malcolm MacDonald was the presided over the wedding. He also baptized all the kids in Gaelic as well.
And what year was that?
That was 1994.
Okay. Now I'd like to ask you, Truman, what sort of changes have you seen in Gaelic in Nova Scotia over the years since you've been involved?
Well, unfortunately, we've seen most of the last of the native speakers passing on. There's still a few left. To be honest, Broadsea is probably the only one I know personally who's still around. And of the older generation, at least, yourself excluded. But the generation that I guess would be more comfortable speaking Gaelic than English, that particular generation, there's still a few that are quite fluent that are left around. On the positive side, we have seen a very sharp increase in the number of people who are developing fluency in the language. Now, the fluency perhaps isn't as good as some of the later Gaelic speakers, even, but they're at least making progress. Where back when I was growing up, I was learning Gaelic. Very few people were able to get from even an intermediate level to a fluency. That seems to have changed, and there seems to be a lot more. And I guess there's a lot more of the people who were brought up with Gaelic around them who are start to speak it as well, and through the efforts of the Gaelic ballot program. And so there's definitely some positive things to be said. I can definitely say in Antigonish there's probably more Gaelic speakers here now than back when I first arrived. A lot more.
So there have been a few initiatives by the government to assist with development of Gaelic, and one of them, I believe, when Rodney MacDonald was Minister of Tourism, there was a report commission called the Kennedy Report.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that report?
Yes, I am.
It was 2001, and it came out. Any comments on that report? Did you?
Well, I wasn't part of the committee that initiated that, but I was from about 2002 on. I was part of the committee that developed a report to government, which really had a wide wide-ranging effect, I guess. And later on, it helped to establish the Gaelic Office of Gaelic Affairs. Although I do recall a lot of meetings and a lot of burnout, and a lot of people dropping by the wayside through the course of the whole thing, because it took several years to at least two years, or maybe even 4. I forget now. That we were in meetings every sometimes once every couple of months, or even more frequent than that, and we go up for 4 hours or 6 hours at a time. So it was a lot of effort. If my memory serves correct. It's called Gaelic Nova Scotia Opportunities, and a couple of years after that, I'm told that it had was very significant in the establishing of a Gaelic cultural studies program at the high school level. And after that, we the group that I was involved with, which included Lewis McKinnon, we set about reviving, I guess, the Gaelic Council of Nova Scotia. And Lewis was the president, and I remember we did have a number of our meetings conducted exclusively in Gaelic. I was the recorder at the time, secretary, and so that group kind of the Gaelic Council actually kind of went on hiatus while we were dealing with this other report that was through government there after the Kennedy report came out. It took at least a couple of years to put together, and the direct result of that was the establishing of the Office of Gaelic Affairs. Basically, most of the leadership in the community has been through that government body since that time.
And that's when Rodney MacDonald was premier at that time?
Yes, I believe he established the Office of Gaelic Affairs when he was in Minister of Tourism. I believe it was I forget what they called it. It was another thing. Anyways, it was just I think it was just Lewis McKinnon and maybe Francis McEachran, who was involved with the prior to that. And
so there's been some good changes and some a lot of work and time and effort. Yes.
Yes, unfortunately, the government, the current government, has cut the Office of Gaelic Affairs to the point where there's a lot less communication going on, and particularly, I guess, the office isn't as visible as it used to be, which is my main beef, I guess, with the current changes. But.
So what do you attribute the increased interest in Gaelic to? Seems to be more numbers.
I attribute it directly to the establishing of the Office of Gaelic Affairs. It gave us a lot more visibility in the community, and a lot more people were looking for ways of accessing courses and that, and a lot of the staff were heavily involved in teaching, and the Gaelic Bella program was certainly, like I said before, important in getting people from a beginner level to more comfortable speaking the language. now there's a lot more going on in other communities. I've been kind of out of the loop a little bit myself lately, so but there's a lot more going on in Maabu and Christmas Island and North Shore than
So you think more communication would help with that?
Yes, I think.
Agus after Gaelic so how fechin or some Gaelic na Gléidheadh routine. What future do you see for Gaelic in the years to come?
I think a lot of it's going to be tied into the economy and people's ability to, the community's ability to make it a priority in their lives. So it's never going. It may never be a community language again, and it certainly won't be a language where that we only have monoglot speakers of. It'll be a language that people choose to speak, as has been the case for years. And I think a lot of it is going to be tied to the culture as well, the songs and the storytelling. And I think that communities need to be aware of that when they're teaching Gaelic and when
what about Gaelic in the schools, Trueman? How do you feel about that? And
what we need is more people in the field, people actually teaching the courses, and in particular, what I'd like to see established is a Gaelic medium schooling system. And I think that's the only way we're going to see significant numbers of students become fluent in Gaelic. Like I said, the Gaelic ballot program is a great program for those who have an established amount of Gaelic, a certain amount of Gaelic under their belts. I don't think it's a great introductory thing unless it's in an immersion setting. And I think that needs to, one of the weaknesses of the program in particular is the grammar and reading aspects that's being kind of cast off. And also the fact that none of the programs I know of teach singing. None of them are teaching other songs.
And that's an important aspect for learning Gaelic, like you said earlier.
Yeah, none of the teachers are teaching any of the songs, at least not around here anymore. That used to be the case in St. Andrews, but not anymore. And unfortunately, we've lost our Gaelic teacher up here, and it was teaching in the after-school program. And she had the Gaelic Choir and everything, but that hasn't really continued. I think that needs to be a refocus of efforts on Gaelic song and tying it to the language and culture. And it's all about making the students proud of their heritage. And if they're just learning words, they're not really learning much about their heritage. And,
it's more than just the words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. So that brings me to the question, do you have any advice for learners? Of any age.
Of any age. Yes. Well, one is that in my experience, there's if you're someone who's into languages, you can learn Gaelic at any. It doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're 10 or 90 years old, you can still start learning language. There are resources out there. There are videos on YouTube. Teaching your language is still available on there, and Canshaw, I believe, some of these older programs, but they're still very good for people who don't have access to proper materials or teachers in particular. But there are a lot of communities that are teaching Gaelic on a regular basis. I would encourage people to join these groups because they all need an infusion of new blood, and as any volunteer group every volunteer group needs to keep it going, really. And turn the television off, put your cell phones away, and devices and whatnot, and get out and enjoy yourself with similarly like-minded, I guess, individuals.
Yes.
Which is kind of what our store here is about, actually, too.
Yes.
It's about turning off cell phones and getting on the social activities as a group rather than individually.
And practicing every day.
Practice, that is very important, yeah. Like I said, I didn't learn much when I was learning French in high school. It took me my own effort when I was started taking up Gaelic, and it allowed me to at least get to a level of fluency.
Right.
As I used to tell a lot of people, if I can do it, you certainly can.
Right.
Because I have a hard time with English sometimes. So.
So would you like to add anything else, Trueman, before we close the interview? Do you have any other thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, I'd like to thank you, Pauline, for all the work you've done over the years, and I've been greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
And certainly you and particularly Katrina Parsons has been very helpful for our efforts, and we certainly wouldn't have gotten anywhere without her editing abilities, and there's been so many others too that involved over the years that helped us out, and I hope that we can we'll have such people in the future to for the next generation of learners too, and
that's right. It takes devotion to and work to.
It takes passion and devotion, and
yes.
just don't. Just remember not to drop everything.
Well, I'd like to thank you again, Trueman, for agreeing to be interviewed today, and that this video that we did today will be available to people in years to come to enjoy the hearing about the work you did, and to hear your voice singing that lovely Gaelic song, and Dachas can be Cummal Soas a Gaelic.
Has been.